From the Torah. Today we're looking at Exodus 32 and 33. Exodus 32 is actually a really important chapter in the book of Exodus and really points to the future of Israel and how they react to God. And it's a very, it kind of foreshadows everything else that happens in some ways, I think. So here we go. When the people saw that Moses delayed in coming down from the mountain, they gathered around Aaron and said to him, "Get up and make us gods that will go before us. As for this fellow Moses, the man who brought us up from the land of Egypt, we do not know what has become of him." So Aaron said to them, "Break off the gold earrings that are in the ears of your wives, your sons, your daughters, and bring them to me." So all the people broke off the gold earrings that were on their ears and brought them to Aaron. He accepted the gold from them and fashioned it with an engraving tool and made a molten calf. Then they said, "These are your gods, O Israel, who brought you out of Egypt." When Aaron saw this, he built an altar before it. Aaron made a proclamation and said, "Tomorrow will be a feast to the Lord." So they got up early on the next day and offered up burnt offerings and brought peace offerings. And the people sat down to eat and drink, and they rose up to play. The Lord spoke to Moses, "Go quickly, descend, because your people, whom you brought out of the land of Egypt, have acted corruptly. They have quickly turned aside from the way that I commanded them. They have made for themselves a molten calf and had bowed down to it and sacrificed to it and said, 'These are your gods, O Israel, which brought you up out of the land of Egypt.'" Then the Lord said to Moses, "I have seen this people. Look what a stiff-necked people they are. So now leave me alone, that my anger can burn against them, and I can destroy them, and I will make from you a great nation." But Moses sought the favor of the Lord and the Lord his God and said, "O Lord, why does your anger burn against the people whom you have brought out of the land of Egypt with great power and a mighty hand? Why should the Egyptians say, 'For evil he led me out to kill them in the mountain to destroy them from the face of the earth'? Turn from your burning anger. Turn from your burning anger and relent against your people. Remember Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, your servants, to whom you swore by yourself and told them, 'I will multiply your descendants like the stars of the heaven, and all this land that I have spoken about I will give to your descendants, and they will inherit it forever.' Then the Lord relented over the evil that he had said he would do to this people. Moses turned and went down from the mountain, the 2 tablets of testimony in his hand. The tablets were written on both sides. They were written on front and back. Now the tablets were the work of God, and the writing was the writing of God, engraved on the tablets. When Joshua heard the noise of the people as they shouted, he said to Moses, "It is a sound of war in the camp." And Moses said, "It is not the sound of those who shout for victory, nor is it the sound of those who cry because they are overcome, but the sound of singing I hear." When they approached the camp and saw the calf and the dancing, Moses became extremely angry, and he threw the tablets from his hands and broke them to pieces at the bottom of the mountain. He took the calf they had made and burned it with fire, and ground it to powder and poured it out on the water and made the Israelites drink it. Moses said to Aaron, "What did this people do to you that you have brought on them so great a sin?" And Aaron said, "Do not let your anger burn hot, my lord. You know these people, that they tend to evil. They said to me, 'Make us gods that will go before us.' As for this fellow Moses, the man who brought us up out of Egypt, out of the land of Egypt, we do not know what has happened to him." So I said to them, "Whoever has gold, break it off." So they gave it to me, and I threw it into the fire, and this calf came out. Moses saw the people were running wild, and Aaron had let them get completely out of control, causing derision from their enemies. So Moses stood at the entrance of the camp and said, "Whoever is for the Lord, come to me." And all the Levites gathered to him, and he said, "Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, each man fasten his sword on his side and go back and forth from the entrance to the entrance throughout the camp, and each one kill his brother, his friend, his neighbor." The Levites did what Moses ordered, and that day about 3,000 men died. Moses said, "You have been consecrated today for the Lord. Each of you was against his son or against his brother, so that he is given a blessing to you today." The next day, Moses said to the people, "You have committed a serious sin, but now I will go up to the Lord. Perhaps I can make atonement on behalf of your sin." So Moses returned to the Lord and said, "Alas, this people have committed a very serious sin, and they have made for themselves gods of gold. But now, if you will forgive their sins, but if not, wipe me out from your book that you have written." The Lord said to Moses, "Whoever has sinned against me, that person I will wipe out of that book, out of my book. So now go, lead the people to the place I have spoken to you about. See, my angel will go before you, but on the day that I punish, I will indeed punish them for their sin." And the Lord sent a plague on the people because they had made the calf, the one Aaron made. Chapter 33. The Lord said to Moses, "Go up from here, you and the people whom you brought out of the land of Egypt, to the land that I promised on oath to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob, saying, I will give your descendants, I will give it to your descendants. I will send an angel before you, and I will drive out the Canaanite, the Amorite, the Hittite, the Perizzite, the Hivite, and the Jebusite. Go up to the land flowing, to a land flowing with milk and honey. But I will not go among you, for you are a stiff-necked people, and I must destroy you on the way." When the people heard this troubling word, they mourned. No one put on his ornaments, for the Lord had said to Moses, "Tell the Israelites, you are a stiff-necked people, and if I went up among you for a moment, I might destroy you. Now take off your ornaments, that I may know what I should do to you." So the Israelites stripped off their ornaments by Mount Horeb. Moses took the tent and speak to Moses face to face, the way a person speaks to a friend. Then Moses would return to the camp, but his servant Joshua, son of Nun, a young man, did not leave the tent. Moses said, "See, you have been saying to me, 'Bring this people up,' but you have not let me know whom you will send me with. But you said, 'I know you by name, and also you have found favor in my sight.' Now if I have found favor in your sight, show me your way, that I may know and may continue to find favor in your sight, and see that this nation is your people." And the Lord said, "My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest." And Moses said to him, "If your presence does not go with us, do not take us up from here. For how will it be known then that I have found favor in your sight, and I and your people? Is it not by your going with us, so that we will be distinguished, and I and your people, from all the people who are on the face of the earth?" The Lord said to Moses, "I will do this thing also that you have requested, for you have found favor in my sight, and I know you by name." And Moses said, "Show me your glory." And the Lord said, "I will make all my goodness pass before your face, and I will proclaim the Lord by name before you. I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show mercy to whom I will show mercy." But he added, "You cannot see my face, for no one can see me and live." And the Lord said, Here is a place by me. You will station yourselves on a rock. And when my glory passes, I will put you in the cleft of the rock, and will cover you with my hand while I pass by. Then I will take away my hand, and you will see my back, but my face must not be seen. So in this passage, we've got a couple things. One of the most important things, like I said in chapter 32, is while Moses is on the mountain meeting with God, Moses, and it seems Joshua is there as well, the people, as they look up on the mountain, they see the smoke, they see the fire, they say, "Well, make for us a God to worship." The people have already been told the number one commandment from God is do not worship any other gods, do not create any graven images, right? Those are the first two commandments, right? And, this is what they do. At the base of the mountain that Moses is meeting with God to get the law. And Aaron does it. And I think it's interesting. Aaron tells the people, okay, you want a God to worship? Give me all your gold. And the text says he fashioned it. But when Moses comes down, Aaron's like, I don't know what happened. They just gave me gold and I threw it in the fire. This came out. He's pointing to the figure. He's trying to, no, I'm not responsible. But he was. And this is important because this shows how the people are going to be. And we see that all throughout the rest of the history of the people of Israel. They try to do the right thing, and they go away quickly. They try to do, I mean, there's this, it's almost like a pendulum, or maybe one of those metronomes that go back and forth. That's what it's like. And because of this, things change. And God's like, okay, I can't be among you anymore because this is who you are, and I'll destroy you. Because I am holy and you are not, and you are continuing to do the wrong thing. And this goes back to the garden, that human beings have a propensity to sin. Well, that's what we see here. Even as God has brought this people out of Israel or Egypt to become the nation of Israel, they're rebelling against him. And I think it's interesting. Aaron creates this golden calf, but then says, let's have a feast to the Lord. And the Lord in the English text is all caps. And that means it's the sacred name of God, the tetragrammaton that sometimes is transliterated in something like Yahweh. And it made me think about the ways that we think we are worshiping God, but we have created a God in our image or in what we want, and how that is different from worshiping the one true God. People of Israel wanted something they could look at, something they could touch, something they could manage and control. That's not who God is. And so when Aaron did this, in his mind, well, this is, he molded and made it, he used engraving tools to make it. This is God. This is the Lord. And he was creating a false idol, even if he may have understood this to be Yahweh. It wasn't. And how many times do we do that? Do we create images of Jesus? Do we create images of God that are not real? I remember when I was teaching in middle school, there was it was a song, a YouTube video song that came up that my students really liked, and it essentially Jesus wasn't a white man, and really the whole song is about who Jesus isn't. And I think some of the times we allow where we're at in life and what we do to make us think, well, this is what God thinks. Jesus is not a Republican, is not a Democrat. Jesus is neither of those, because Jesus is before all those things. Anytime we say, well, this is what Jesus wants, this is what God wants, this is God honoring, we need to make sure that we've thought through that. Because there are a lot of things that people say are God honoring that aren't. And it may not even be whether they're right or wrong, but it's the fact of how they act. I want to be known, not whether I was always right or always wrong, because I'm wrong a lot of the time. I'm right some of the time, but even a blind squirrel gets an acorn every now and then. But I want to be known as someone that, despite all that, was loving and showed forgiveness and showed mercy. Because I think those are much harder to come by in this world. And that's who Jesus calls us to be. So, hope you guys are doing well.